business automation. So we're going to talk about the business automation blueprint. And first, let's answer the question of what automation is. And if you try to define it in terms of an online business, or you define it in terms of the online portion of the business that you are running, we're talking about you doing something or you putting things in motion without any active effort. So in other words, these are things that are going to happen in your business. They are tangible things. They're substantive things that are going to move the process forward in your business without you having to do something. And that even means sending a broadcast email, which is pretty easy to do. But these are things that happen because you set them in motion ahead of time. So anything that you're doing that happens automatically. And outsourcing is not automation, right? So this is not about outsourcing. And yes, outsourcing will save you time. Yes, outsourcing will help you to be more productive. Yes, outsourcing will move processes forward because you get talented people. That's not what automation is. Automation is something that you put in motion. And almost exclusively technology can do this, right? So that's really what the online portion of your business can do for you. It means that customers are getting what they want as soon as they make payment. And that may sound like it's automatic, but it's not. Oftentimes, we're going to talk about that tonight, many times a customer, through no fault of your own, are they always going to get what they paid for immediately? And so what you want to do is you want to have processes in place that just in case those things don't happen, that you get them to that first page. And I'm going to talk about why that's important here. It means that when they need help, they can get it. And again, sometimes that means then that even if your support person is not available, can they get the help that they need? If your support desk is off for the weekend and you have something that happen, can they still get some help? Can they get the help they need? And that, again, it means that you're putting processes in place. It means you're putting systems in place to make sure they're getting the help that they need. It means that if your client or your customer don't know what they should do, they get direction. And that does not mean that you can be there 24 hours a day. That's what an online business is. That's what the online portion of your business is. It means that they get direction when they need it. And again, the way you want to think about this is, what can I do beforehand to make sure the customer gets what they need, right? What can I do? What can I do ahead of time? We're going to talk about some of those things in this session. And hiring somebody to do menial tasks. And this is why I want to come back to outsourcing. It means that just because you can outsource things, if you hire that person to do things that you could automate, that means then that you're not getting your ROI on the money you spent. Well, when you spend money, you decide to spend money on human capital. You decide to bring someone else in your business. You want to make sure that person, number one, is a 10. That they are highly competent, they're highly talented, and that they can actually move your business forward. If you can do something that is going to be automated instead of having a human to do it, that means that you can spend your money on humans to help you to do things that are going to be, again, additive to your business. Now, the growth of your business and brand still depends on labor in real time, right? So basically, if you have somebody work for you, you want your business to grow as a result of it. You don't want to spend that time and you don't want to spend that money getting people into doing really menial stuff. So where does automation matter most, right? So we can talk about automation in every aspect of your business. And if we did that, we'd be here for 10 hours. We want to talk about one thing. Where does it matter most? The most crucial thing you and I can do, right, to make sure your customer that purchases your product online gets what they pay for as soon as possible. Again, it sounds elementary, but it's not. And we can put processes in place to make sure that those few times when something goes wrong or something goes sideways, or that your customer has something different than other customers, that they are actually going to get what they paid for. And then, while they may or may not refund you, this could put a bad taste in their mouth if you're meeting them for the first time. So let's say that you have a customer, they're buying from you for the first time, and then for whatever happens, right, again, it can be a process that is out of your control. They don't end up getting the right email. They don't end up getting sent to the right thank you page. They don't end up getting sent to your support desk. They don't end up getting sent to the right place. They don't end up seeing something that they were supposed to see what it does if you only have one avenue is it puts a bad taste in their mouth. You want the first experience, if at all possible, to be a good experience. And when we say, and you probably heard this often as an entrepreneur, as a marketer, right? You want to make sure that your customer finds it easy to buy from you. And that's only half true, right? It's only half true. What has to happen is it's got to be easy for the customer to consume what you have given them. Right? And I'm not just talking about concept. I'm talking about it must be easy for them to get their hands on what they purchase and start using it. That's what must be easy. So again, only half of the process is that they bought it and now it's easy. Right? The delivery is important. The introduction is important. Getting them into and getting their hands on the product is important. And then leaving these issues all to customer service, right? And this is kind of where you want to just kind of think differently about automation. It doesn't mean that you can put all this on your support desk, right? Because by the time it gets to the support desk, when somebody is going to write into support, they're already coming in hot. They're already coming in at 10. They're already a little upset. You don't want to do that. Number one, your customer service. Number two, you don't want to send a person through those changes if you don't have to, especially you can automate some things on the front side, right? So again, if your customer service is handling everything, if it's a catch-all, that means then you're not automating enough. Now, and this is going to be the difference between somebody being okay with your product and somebody loving them, right? So it's when you eliminate a lot of those hitches, as many as you can, people are going to be more than okay. They're going to love what you do, right? As much as that as you can eliminate. I mean, you can never eliminate 100%, but if you can eliminate as much as you can by automation, you are going to put people, and you're going to make them feel a little more positive about what it is you're doing. And if you, for whatever reason, right, if you just make them okay or put them in neutral, what it does is just slows down momentum, right? Because momentum means that people are saying, wow, this is great. They're going out and telling other people. They're giving you positive mention. All of that momentum makes more sales for you. And again, all of this stuff in terms of automation will matter, but you will see it show up in additional sales. Now, you and I, we've got to neutralize as much of this stuff as we can through automation, right? We can do that. Now, there is what are called belt and suspenders. And belt and suspenders is really just another way of saying we want to be conservative. We want to make sure that we've taken care of every aspect of the process. And we want to make sure that we overlap if we have to. So in other words, even if a person hears from us and they get their login and password in one way, we still want to make it available to them in as many ways as they can. If we can tell them in video, if we can tell them in an email, if we can tell them in a PDF, if we can tell them in all the ways in which they experience the product or experience us, we want to be able to do that. And again, all of this takes practice, but let's talk about this. You can't assume, right, that all buyers are going to have the same experience with your product. So what does that mean? It has nothing to do with you, right? Everybody who comes to your website doesn't have the same aptitude. They don't have the same experience dealing with things online. They don't have the same experience dealing with technology. They don't have the same experience unzipping files. They don't have the same experience downloading files. They don't have the same experience streaming files. They do not have the same experience. Some people have different kinds of internet connections. Some people have limited space on their PC. Some people are working on a mobile device. So not everybody is going to have the same experience with your products. And you can't assume that they are. And every time you give people one avenue to get what they purchase from you, what you're doing is you're assuming that everybody's going to have the same experience as technology that you're setting out. And that's a mistake. Right? You want to be as conservative as you can and assume that nobody has the same experience, and it's as many ways as possible that you can get people to what they purchase or what they have done with or what they're doing with you. You want to be able to do that. So if you can, go the extra mile. Now, again, that might sound a little cheesy, but it's true. As much as you can do by automation, right? As much as you can do. Now, again, I'm not talking about going the extra mile by being there 24 hours a day. That's really what automation does. Automation allows you to in effect be everywhere because you set it up ahead of time and you're getting people, again, to the same point. Again, a lot of these things are going to overlap with each other, but it's fine because all you're doing is you're being extra sure. The delivery system should be automated, but you should not assume that it's going to happen. Right? You shouldn't assume that people are going to get to the thank you page. You shouldn't assume that people are going to get to the right link to get their stuff. You shouldn't assume that. You should not assume that they're going to get the delivery email. Right? Now, again, you might say that, hey, you know what? I know they're going to get their login and password. Don't assume it. Right? Don't assume it. Again, please do not assume that you're collecting leads. Right? Probably one of the most important parts to what you're going to be doing when you sell a product, when you have an opt-in page, is that you're going to get the lead. That person's going to make it into your autoresponder. They're going to become a lead for you. You can't assume that. Right? Often that doesn't happen for any number of reasons. We'll talk about that, why that happens tonight. You can't assume the customer's going to unzip the files you've given them. Right? You can't assume that's going to happen. You've got to compensate for that, and you can compensate for that through automation. The customer should be able to find and use your support, but you can't. You cannot assume that they're going to find it. Again, you and I can do some of these things in automation. Let's talk about automation in product delivery. You might run the risk of sending too many notifications to your customer, but it's better to have one or two people feeling like they're getting too much than to have. It's better to have most of the people feel like they're getting too much than to have one or two people feeling like they're not getting what they're paid for. Right? So again, part of the product delivery process is automating every avenue that they can possibly get it. If you're going to use a membership of content of any kind, right? If you're going to use a membership and people are getting their content locked, that means they're going to need a login and password. Number one, you have to make sure your delivery email arrives in their inbox. It's not enough that you sent it. It's not enough that it's supposed to happen. It has to arrive there, and you've got to do what you can to make sure. One of the things you can do is to make sure you're using, for any delivery email, please make sure you're using something like SendGrid or Amazon SES for any transactional email. Please do not rely on a cloud-based system. Please do not rely on your WordPress installation. You will find more often than not that email is going to not make it into people's inbox. Sometimes you will have had your system send the email and it goes to spam just because you sent it through the WordPress system. Now, that's not necessarily your fault, but it is your fault if there's not another way that you have given your client, your customer, to make sure they got it. Right? So everything that you can do in the product delivery process, especially that email, you want to make sure it makes it into the box. It's possible. Make sure that as soon as payment is made, right, as soon as they're taken back from their payment, you want to make sure they see what they purchased if you can. And that's not always going to be possible due to your setup. But if you can, right, make sure they see it as soon as they make payment. Now, it's not going to be a good idea, and this is pretty standard. I just need to say this. Please do not make people opt in to something they've already purchased, right? That's number one. PayPal doesn't like it, nor do merchant accounts like it, nor do your customers like it. So somebody have bought from you, and you're going to force them into an opt-in form. Don't do that, right? Not only is it bad etiquette, it really will kind of get the relationship started in the wrong way. Now, if possible, right? If possible, and it's not always going to be possible, but if you can, and this is going to be a little tricky now because Google Chrome is now no longer auto-playing videos, but it doesn't matter, right? Put a video on your page that is visible that says, watch this video first, right? And make it prominent. Make it so that it is unavoidable. Make it so that it is enticing for them to watch the video first. If they refuse to watch the video, give them visual directions. Give them a PDF. Explain to them exactly the first things they should expect, exactly the first things they should be doing. Explain it. Their first contact after paying, if you can, should be something that says step 1, do this now, right? If you can do this in video, try to do it in video. Now, again, even without the autoplay, this is going to go a long way, again, toward making sure that you are, and again, this is something that you can do ahead of time. right? This is something that now it sounds like, well, that's not automation, but that's not moving them. But it is automation because you are really explaining to them and you are keeping your customer service from having to deal with a problem that you were heading off by making sure that you're explaining something ahead of time. Now, your email or support site should be visible in case something goes wrong. Now, again, that's just common knowledge, but now it's not commonly done, right? So please make sure that your support's going to be visible when that happens. Now, this is a minor point, and I'm going to tell you why this matters in a minute. You would rather people go to your support link than rather email you. Right. I'm gonna show you why that's the case. Now, you can do an email, right? A support email, but if you have a help desk, try to get people to go to your help desk, and I'll tell you why. Let's talk about automation and customer support. Automation support. The more automated your support is, the better your customer experience is going to be, right? You want to try to do something like anticipate frequently asked questions. You probably get of all of the people that come to your support desk, there are probably 10 questions that a lot of people ask. Right now, again, this is going to take you time to do, but it's worth doing. Make sure your customer can easily see these questions. Now, in the FAQ, doesn't feel like automation. That's not the cool part of automation, but what you've done is you've stepped out ahead of time and you've given your client or your customer the opportunity to ask and get answered a question that commonly gets answered. Now, again, what if your support is not around? What if your support's not going to be answering questions for another 5, 6, 7, 12 hours? You want to make sure that if it is a common question, they can get the answer to it. So when they come to your page, when they come to your customer support page, your support link, right? Again, you can't do this if you're doing a support email. You can do it if you're doing a support link. When they come to your page, try to make sure that the customer can easily see the questions and access the answers. This is important. And this is why you want to send people to the support site, right, instead of just the email, because they can see your frequently asked questions, because you've taken the time and you're adding to this all the time. Right? You are building this up. So again, this takes time to do. It takes time to set up initially, but also it takes time to build it up because every time you get a question that's going to commonly be asked, you can add that to your support site so that when people come there, they can see promptly, oh, you know what? This is something, this is my very question. I can get this answered right now. I don't have to fill in a support request. And again, when it comes to the people that you're hiring, right? Again, human capital, labor capital. It means that you're spending money to hire people that can focus on activities that will grow your business instead of things that are just commonly that you can take care of on automation, right? If your customer, if your assistant, if the person you're outsourcing to is spending their time on something that you could have answered up front, again, I wouldn't say it's wasting your money, but it is not getting the return on investment that you were putting in by getting a human being to work with you. And this can be done on a hosted site. Right now, typically you'll see this with help desks and support desks like Zendesk and Freshdesk and others. I'm going to show you an example. And this is just a frequently asked questions. Right? It can be something really this simple. Now, this is easy to do if you have a specific kind of help desk. I think with Zendesk, it probably costs a little extra. With Freshdesk, it might come with it. And basically, it's going to be worth it. What is it doing for you? Well, what it's doing is it's giving your clients and your customers a chance to ask questions, right? And to get them answered without your customer service person having the answer. And while your assistant can continue to work on high value activities. Right now, let's talk about automation in lead collection. Automation in collecting the leads that are coming into your marketing funnel. Now, in most cases, you're going to be set up to collect leads on the sale of your product or your service. Now, just because you have an after-sale autoresponder, this is not foolproof, right? So don't think that just because you had 10 sales, you had an after-sale autoresponder, now your list is going to grow by 10. It's probably not going to grow by 10. And there are a lot of reasons for that. This is not a foolproof method of building your list. Now, it's a great method of building your list if you go through some of these processes and you automate a few things. And sometimes the purchase email is not the one that's going to be used regularly by the customer. So in other words, they use their PayPal email address and then they buy something that ends up being the one gets put into your leads. And so you're sending autoresponder emails to an email they're not answering. Right now, again, for a lot of reasons, that doesn't help you any. In some cases, what will happen is, some customers are a little savvy, and they'll see the little tick box, and they'll say, you know what, I don't want to receive any other product notifications, right? And it's their right to do that. It's not even a bad thing, right? If they know they're not going to want it, right, they're not going to want to get email about it, then they don't want to receive it. But again, you can't assume that just because you made 10 sales, you're going to end up with 10 new people on your list. So how do you work around that, right? So how do you work around that ahead of time? Number one, you're going to make sure you've got a squeeze page and opt-in page set up, right? It should already be set up. It should be prominent so that people can see it. Number two, you're going to have to set up emails ahead of time. Again, this is not the sexy part of automation, but these are things that should be happening automatically. People should be told automatically. They need to be incentivized automatically to go to your opt-in page after they purchase. Now, why? Now, you can get them there from their thank you page. So if they end up landing on the thank you page, you can incentivize them. You can give them an offer. Give them an offer to get something free if they go and they do this right now. Give them something that they will value. Give them something that you'll have no doubt that they will go to get their best email address, put that email address in, get the confirmation, follow through, and get what you promised them if you give them a proper incentive. Now, again, this has to be set up ahead of time. If you try to do this with a broadcast email, it's not going to work. Excuse me. And even if you get it to work, right, you're going to have to do it over and over and over again. What you want to do is set this in motion behind everything you sell. So that anytime somebody buys something, anytime somebody sees something, they see the thank you page, they see your incentive. You want to get that person to opt in onto your list. Delivery page. Make the same offer again, just in case they miss it on the thank you page. If they actually do get the initial automated email, right, make sure that they see the offer again. They see the offer to opt in. Again, this should be part of your double opt-in process. You want to put these people through a double opt-in process because the double opt-in process is going to be a higher quality lead. And when an individual opts in on this list, then you're going to automatically have them removed from the automatic lead collection list if they're using the same email, right? Right? You want to do that. So basically what you're doing in this lead collection process is you're trying to move people into double opt-in list, even if they came in single opt-in. Now, and you try to set this up ahead of time because again, you want to make sure that the person number one, they put their best email in. Number two, that they're double opt-in and that they're open to communicating and getting your email from you. Now, and again, this kind of goes to what I was saying. You stand the highest possible lead quality from this method. You're going to get the highest quality lead of your lead collection, right? Your leads are going to be of the highest quality. Right now, so what about automation and customer engagement, right? So how do you engage using automation? Now, engagement starts as soon as the customer gets to your download page. Right. So again, they've made it. Right. So they've made it. They've already made it to your download page. And so in many forms as possible, right, try to get them to get started first. Remember, the key to this is for them to consume what they purchased. Now, I'm not just talking about information prize. I'm talking about getting their hands on what they've already purchased from you. So show them what to do in the video. Right, if possible. Now, once again, don't autoplay this video. If they've already made a delivery page, you don't have to do that. But make it prominent, something that even the thumbnail should say, watch this video first. Now, you might have to work around, if you're using YouTube, you're going to have to work around the play button. But again, make sure they're big letters, big words that say, watch this video first. Then show them in the PDF, right? Make it downloadable because, again, some people just don't want to watch a video. Right, it irritates them, but that's fine. Wonderful. Make sure they see it in a PDF. Provide them written instructions. Right now, one thing that I didn't say here that I really do say, if you can just kind of visually put it on the page, put a JPEG image on the page that's really simple, that points and that has no words but arrows, shows them what to do first. Put the number 1 where they go first. Put the number 2 where they go second. Put the number 3. And again, it should be so simple that when they see it at a glance that they do it. Now, why is that? Right? Why is this? And why would I say this is automation? Because again, you're setting it up ahead of time. Number two, what you're doing is making sure that if something goes wrong, that they're going to get what they paid for, and they're going to get into starting to consume what they purchased. They're going to get their hands on it. Now, this is going to take time to put in place. Now, you're not going to get this right ahead. You're not going to get this right the first time. With each successive product, you should be improving on this process. You should be improving on what goes on your delivery page. Now, you should do the same thing on your thank you page if necessary, right? So which again, you're trying to tell people. Now, it doesn't have to be the exact same thing as what's on your delivery page. In fact, what's on your thank you page, when people first see it, should be telling them exactly what they should expect to see next. Go to your email, right? Show them what it looks like going to get the email, clicking on the confirmation link with their best email, then going to get what you've promised them. Make sure they know when they see you for the first time that, hey, you know what? You've got to complete the process. Now, sometimes I think AWeber even has an audible voice. Now, they may not like that because you want to make sure they hear your voice. Doesn't matter. However you do it, make sure that they see it. Make sure that they see it prominently and that they know, okay, I got to go finish the process if this is what I want. Always be thinking in terms of customer engagement, in terms of what you want them to do after they purchase, in terms of getting them to the delivery page, in terms of getting their hands on what they purchase. What's the next step? What do you want them to do? Right? And can you tell them ahead of time? Can you tell them in an email? Can you send out a follow-up email? Can you put it on the thank you page? What can you do? Can you do something like step 1, do this first. Step 2, do this second. Step 3, do this second. And can you make it so crystal clear that it's in front of them and they have to do it? Now, again, all of this stuff is going to be important to you as time goes forward. Now, we're going to get even deeper into automation now. We're getting closer to what we would term as marketing automation. Now, automation to email contact, automation in contacting by email. Now, that first email, right? It's going to be a follow-up email. You're not going to send them. Now, you can do a broadcast email, but I would recommend to make sure they get an email from you at the very beginning. Now, again, all the introductory stuff, all that stuff's important. Right? This is who you are and how you're going to be doing and what they can expect, all this stuff. Yeah, that's cool. But here's some stuff that are more important. Number 1, give them the download link again, right? Send them to the page again. Some people are not going to get to the process through the thank you page. Some people are not going to get to the delivery through the delivery page. Some people are not going to get there through your receipt, right? Put the download link in the very first email. Make it prominent. Make it first. Support links. Right? Support links. Make sure that your support link is visible in the first email and prominent. Resource links, right? Where they can find stuff, where they can find you. Again, first email to whatever they purchase. Right? Again, now I'm all for the introduction. I'm all for preliminary things, but first things first, right? Make sure they're getting all of these things in your very first contact with them, because what you're saying is, hey, you know what? Before I get into me, I want to make sure you're taken care of. Right? Tell them what to do first in that email, right? Tell them what to do first. You're trying to get them to consume. Again, one part of it is certainly important. They get their hands on what they purchased. That's important. But really what's important to you as an entrepreneur, as a marketer, as an information marketer, is to get them to consume. That's the first step, to get their hands on what they purchase. Again, tell them what to expect, right? Tell them what to expect. Now, all this is going to reduce your support load, right? Believe it or not, this is going to almost eliminate, I'd say a third of the support requests you'll get if you don't do this, right? Because most of the questions people have, right? Most people, they want to know, look, how do I get what I paid for? I don't see anything. I didn't get an email. I didn't get sent to the thank you page. Anything could have happened, right? They could be on a mobile device and then they didn't get the redirect. Anything could happen. So, right, if you can, try to do all these things. Put these things in place. And basically, this is going to keep people from having to contact your support person again. So once again, you have that person working on higher value activities. It's also going to catch people that the delivery process didn't capture. So in other words, you put all these things in place. Whatever happens to the delivery process that didn't happen right, this is going to catch these people. This is your catch-all, not your support. Now, again, check the platform you're using for a couple of things. Number one, can you customize a receipt? If you can, customize it. Right? Customize the receipt to say something that, again, as much information as you can give them, give them. If for nothing else, send them to a video explaining to them to something. Right? Again, if you can customize that receipt, that's going to be big. Take the opportunity to put something in there to make sure they got everything they need before they move on. Number two, if you get to customize or log in your password, right, the email is sent, and often you're going to get that opportunity to do that. You want to make sure that email says something like, again, those 5 things that I've just placed up there, so the download link, support link, resources link, what to do first, what to expect, right? Trying to get that information, or just send them to a video that says, hey, this will explain to you exactly what you need to do. Your goal is to get them consuming what they purchased. Now, any time you're going to get an email from you, right? It's a good time to make sure the information is going to be there again. It's not a good time, in all these emails to start talking, right? And again, this is all business. It's all about them. It's all about them getting what they paid for. It's all about them getting what they want. It's all about them getting the stuff into their hands. Now, talk about marketing automation, right? Marketing automation. If you're going to be, again, when it comes to email, your email systems right now at this moment, right, they're getting more sophisticated, right, in what they give you, because they're giving you the ability now, right, all of your email systems to tag your email subscribers. In other words, you've got now the ability in systems like Aweber, systems like GetResponse, systems like MailChimp, where you can tag your email subscribers. In other words, somebody comes onto your list, you want to put a tag on them to identify them so that you can go then search your email contacts for that identifier. Now, I hope I'm making that clear, because basically this is real power, right? Somebody comes into your marketing funnel. They come into your lead list. They come into your system a certain way. Maybe they came through a certain squeeze page. Maybe they came through a fire sale that you did. Maybe they came through a time when you reduced the price. What you're going to do is tag that person, identify them uniquely. And you can do this and set this up ahead of time so that your system is doing the work. You don't have to go through every single email address. You're allowing your system to do that. You can do this based on how they came in the relationship with you. You can also do it when they take certain actions. Again, somebody takes an action. Inside your email, you can tag them, right? You can identify them for your future use. Now, again, you can also track their activity on your website. This is really cool, as well as being able to track activity based on the links they click. Now, this is going to give you an exceptional amount of power, because you can then automate certain things to happen when somebody clicks on a link, when somebody does something on your website. You want to be, again, you want to be aware of what your system does and how it does it. You can track their activity based on whether or not they make a purchase, right? So again, somebody's on your prospect list. They've seen all your pages. They decide not to make a purchase. You can track that activity, and you can message them based on that activity. You can track them based on their social media activity, right? You can also make sure that anytime you pay a system, now you're probably going to say, well, an autoresponder is an autoresponder, and that's sort of true, right? You want to make sure your autoresponder today, right, the one you're using now, gives you this kind of sophistication. Now, I'm not pushing any one autoresponder. I'm not pushing any one company one over the other. But you want to make sure that you can operate automation, because the automation is really what will give you the ability to customize messages to specific individuals that took certain actions, which allow you to market it more effectively. Right now, that's what is really powerful, because you're going to be able to market to them precisely. Right? Somebody clicked on the second link in your email on March 22nd. So you're going to send them a message based on them getting that email and them clicking on that link. Or let's say they decide not to click a link. You're going to send them an email based on the fact that they did not click the link. All of these things are possible when you understand the automation controls in whatever autoresponder you use, if that autoresponder has automation controls. Now, again, if you're going to pick an autoresponder, you want to make sure that it has these controls. Look, the auto and autoresponder is really for automation, right? It's not just so that you can send out a message at a particular time. That's one part of automation that does help you to save time. It helps you to shift time. What it does really do, what its real power is, that when somebody does something with that email, you can then talk to them in a certain way. If somebody decides that if somebody reads that email, they decide not to do something, you can talk to an individual. That's what the automation and the power in automation really is. It relies less on your everyday activity. Right? So you don't have to figure out what people are doing, or do you have to write messages every day? What you're doing is you're setting up your messaging ahead of time. It's based more on the systems you set up in advance. It assumes you already have a well thought out product funnel, right? So you gain the most benefit from automation if you already have a step-by-step expectation for your prospects and customers to move up through. Number one, when somebody purchases a product from you, what's the next thing they should be thinking about doing? Well, here's what really needs to be working inside of your automation, right? When somebody first becomes part of your list, however they got there, they need to be identified and tagged, right? So that your system has to do that. Number two, your system has to make sure that subscribers send a series of messages based on that. So if your system does this, right, you have sufficient automation. You want to make sure that you can determine some new messages based on things that they do, right, with your system. You want to make sure also that you're going to do this work once. Right, so you don't have to go back and send messages again. You can go back and adjust the system, but you set these things up once, and then they start to work from you, continuing to send messaging based on the things you set up in advance, so that again you're driving them to higher sales. And you can also do this with retargeting pixels if you set those things up ahead of time. So it's another way of being able to bring in another added level of customization. Now, I want to show you an example of marketing automation inside of GetResponse. And so you'll see there at the top that there is automation, right? So if you went inside of GetResponse, you could go and you can go to the automation tab. And basically what you're going to see is that the automation starts. Now, again, I'm telling you about GetResponse, but this is basically how automation works. Somebody starts the process, they subscribe, or they click a link, or they open a message. That starts the chain. So in other words, we can then identify the people who do these, and then we're going to have them experience something based on what they do, right? How do we do that? So what we're going to do is I want you to look on the right side. If you look on the right side, you see then that, hey, when somebody clicks a link, right, we can have them scored and tagged. We can have them copied to a campaign or moved to a campaign. You can see that those things there at the bottom where it says actions. Number one are the conditions, right? So what happens? Number two are the actions. What do we want to happen as a result of this? And all we do is we set these chains up ahead of time inside of GetResponse. So basically, somebody clicks a link, we're going to send them a certain message. Now that's powerful, right? That's really what automation is. And we want to make that message. We want to make sure that message is going to be based on the fact that, hey, you know what? You click this link. I know you're interested. So let me tell you a little bit more about the product. Right? There are all kinds of ways to use automation effectively when you understand some basic flows. You can also do messenger automation, right? And this is becoming more of an issue. This is becoming more of a way of marketing as time goes forward. It's still a little new. People are still not all necessarily, they're not always embracing of it yet. People call these things chatbots, right? We're calling Facebook automated messaging. Number one, you can automate or you can activate a Facebook message when somebody arrives on your page, your fan page. You can activate a message when somebody's on your website for a certain length of time, right? You can automate or add them to your messenger list. Number two, you can activate it when somebody attempts to message you on your page, right? So in order for this to work, right? Now, again, I want to caution you. Don't put automation in place if you don't know your customer, because not everybody's customers are going to be good for this, right? If your people are not going to be the kind that are going to be, let's say, embracing of this, don't go through this process. Now, again, not everybody wants to have a discussion with a bot, right? Personally, I don't like having them. Right now, some people are going to appreciate an immediate response, even if it's right. So some people are going to like it. Number two, let's say they don't like the bot, right? You get them into their messenger, but they don't like a bot. You still want to make sure they've got an easy way to contact you, easy way to get to your frequently asked questions, easy way to get to your support desk if they want to talk to someone. And again, now, if you're looking to drive more sales, right? If you're looking to drive more sales, what you want to do is you want to make sure that your automation is working in this way, because what the automation does is it gets them on webinars. We can get them into position. Now, again, all we're really doing with message automation is moving them down the process. I'm going to show you an example of this, right? So here's an entrepreneur that sends out who has an automated message to come into your messenger. Right now, again, you can click one of these links, and you can have action based on what you've determined you want to do. Now, again, all this happened automatically. This gentleman did not send this out. They didn't email it out. Didn't even have a staff email it out. It all happened automated. Right now, again, you could argue that, well, this is not gonna work with everyone. It could be a turnoff, and that could be. Right, that could very well be. However, right, you want to make sure that at minimum, right, you have access to this kind of way of being able to automate people into your marketing funnel.